Hey, Amie,
Yeah, Juan.
give me that beat.
It's Baseball Shangri-La with Amie Cuevas and Juan Ramirez.
What's up, party people? She is Amie Cuevas. I am Juan Ramirez. You are listening or watching Baseball Shangri-La. If you are listening to us on the podcast, please make sure you're subscribed to it, rate us, write us a review, help spread the word about the show. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, hit that notification button, give us a thumbs up, leave us your comments. We love engaging with you. If you guys like what you're hearing, if you guys like what you're watching, here's your homework assignment. Go tell people about us so more people can join in on the party. And more importantly, make sure you are following us on social media on X at BB Shangri-La, on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch at Baseball Shangri-La. Amie, ¿cómo estás?
I like how you described it as a party. I like it. Good
It's
job.
all, it is a party. It is a huge party. Amie, how was your weekend?
It was good. I don't remember what I did.
All right, then.
It must have been busy and full of stuff. I'm so not used to having baseball that it all just blurs. How was yours?
Before I get there, I totally forgot. This is for Jose Ayala. Hi, everybody, and a pleasant good evening to you wherever you may be. Amie, I thought about you this weekend because I know you have experienced what I experienced, but you experienced it at the baseball stadium, in particular at Dodger Stadium. So I would love to get your opinion on this. I would love to get our listeners and our viewers' opinion on this. My weekend was pretty good for the most part. But I did have a little bit of a downer on Sunday because I was just I got a reminder that as a society we are crumbling. So I want to get your opinion on this. I went to the movies, Amie, and there it has become obvious to me. Oh, wow. She's holding her, for those of you listening on the podcast, she's holding her Gladiator 2 thumbs up, big thumb. Where did they give that out at the movies?
They did. So if I don't like something, I can flip it around. Oh,
Okay.
thumbs down.
So your verdict on Gladiator 2, is it up or down?
Oh, hold on. Oh, I liked it.
All
I liked it a
right.
lot.
Amie liked Gladiator 2. She gave the thumbs up review. So, Amie, this is what I wanted to get to you. So I'm at the movies. And I should have already known this was going to be trouble because there's a couple of things. I don't know where you stand with little children at movies, whether they should be allowed in movie theaters, but that's going to be another topic for another show. But this woman sitting in front of us had a toddler. Okay.
Mhm.
3/4 through the movie, she decided to turn her phone on with a very bright light. She was holding her toddler in her lap and handed the phone to the toddler so the toddler could be entertained by the phone. And it was just this 3/4 through the movie, Amie. And it was just a reminder to me that we just do not know, that people just do not know how to behave in public anymore. And it reminded me of when you were at a Dodger game, and I think this has happened to you more than once.
I was gonna say like almost every Dodger game.
In terms of, I'm going to let you tell what happened, but I wanted to see if you felt the same way. Is there any hope to society? Because I think, at least in the movies, this is an epidemic. This is a huge problem. And I don't know if there is a cure for this. Amie,
It's everywhere.
please let people know about your stadium experience if you wish to share. I don't want to put you on the spot, but
No, I mean, it's the experience I have everywhere. It's not just the stadium, and it's not just kids because I was at Gladiator 2 on Thursday, and there were adults who not only walked in late with their phone flashlight on, super bright, shining it at everybody, but then proceeded to sit and talk through the movie and then pull up their phone and you could see the light going on and off. And it's like, if you want to do that, stay home. This is not the place because we all paid to be here and we all work hard for our money. And I feel the same way when that extends to the stadium too. I had a little kidlet behind me. I think at one of the games. I mean, that's happened more than once. It's not. I mean, pick a game, but in this case, it was parents who had paid for 2 seats in addition to their own for their 3 children. So one child was without a seat. So the littlest one was kicking me in the head. I turned around, politely asked, "Hey, would you mind your kids kicking me? I'm watching the game." Try to be polite. We all got to sit there for the rest of the game. The next kid came over, like, back to me and just like kind of backing into me, like it's nonstop. And the parents are there to be engaged by the game, but they're not necessarily watching their kids. And that's not every parent, because that's not fair to throw everybody in the same bucket. There are some excellent parents that take their kids to games, and those children behave, or they take care of them. There's a contingent of the population that just feels like we all need to babysit their children, or we all have to deal with the repercussions of it. And unfortunately, that, it impacts your movies, it impacts mine. And did anybody say anything to the gal at your theater, or the
It's funny.
gentleman?
Before I tell you what happened, I don't. I didn't think that was the story that you were going to tell, because
Oh, I was like, which one?
the story I was going to tell, I went on LAFC night, and so I was sitting with a bunch of other LAFC fans, and these people constantly got up
Oh,
during the game, in between innings, are talking to people 5 rows in front of them. Basically, they're there to socialize, and they have no interest in watching the party. I mean, watching the game, right? And I know you've had experiences like that, but it's like
just give us a section. I don't even care if you take away my reserve seat and you move us up to top deck. Put us in a section where all the serious fans go to literally just watch the game. So I'm not gonna have the up down all game long, and like we're all just there to like just relax and watch the game. That's all I want.
yeah, the up down. Look, I'm going to leave out details because I want to protect the innocent. But let's just say that words were exchanged. It got heated. Water got thrown on someone.
What?
Other
Okay, no, keep it classy, people.
other people got involved. It was just, and I'm telling you, it was depressing, because it was one of those things where I was just like, this is just not how you behave in a movie theater. And it's not how you behave anywhere. And
Mm-mm,
it was just so rude. It was this thing where you go to the movies and you're treating the movie theater like your own personal living room.
mhm,
And I was in one of those movie theaters that has recliners,
same.
so it's just like, the fact that, like, I literally had to tell this person, they tell us in the beginning to turn off your phone, how rude it is that we just have to abide by whatever you want to do, and you have no consideration for anyone else. This is the reason why, Amy, I'm just
Just
saying,
stay
is
home.
there any hope? You know what? And that crossed my mind as well, Amy. I've been wanting to take my dad to a Dodger game for years, and my dad absolutely refuses to go to a game. And my dad says, why? It's better to watch it on TV. And I get it. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of benefits from watching it on TV, especially football. I
Mhm.
think the TV product in the foosball is much better than going to an actual foosball game. For baseball, I still feel it's better going to the game than watching it on TV. But my dad absolutely refuses to go to a stadium. And part of me is,
And
I
that's
wonder,
that's different that's different mentalities, though, because there's some people, like, I could not me personally, but, like, "Oh, I could go to a game once every couple years and I'm good." And then there's other people who, like, wish that they could go, either can't get the time, can't travel the distance. We all have different kind of mentalities around that. And then there's you and me who go, I think I was at like 40 or 50 games this year, and it's just like that's I like both. I like watching it in sports bars. I like watching it at home. I love being in the stadium. I'm blessed to be able to do that. I think that also equates to things like movie theaters, where it's like I understand people want a break. They want to get out of the house. Maybe this is the most affordable way to do it. Maybe you can't pay for childcare. There's a lot of factors that go into it, but it's just unfortunate when your whatever your situation is starts to impact the theater as a whole, because we all pay to be there. And if I'm watching this movie, or I'm missing pieces of this movie, or I'm just even frustrated, so I'm not enjoying the experience when I decided to come out of my house and go do that, it's we all exist together. Like, it's golden rule it, people. Would you want somebody doing that to you?
no, absolutely. And I mean, like I said, it's just, I can't tell because my dad is a social assassin. And for those of you who are not aware of what a social assassin is, my dad could give two shits in terms of what you think your feelings are. Like, he will literally just say whatever's on his mind and you just have to deal with it.
So
So
when
I
you take him to the stadium, you get a buffer seat.
well, and that's why I'm like, does he not want to go because he just doesn't want to deal with people? And look, I don't blame him. Because people just don't know how to act.
Mhm.
And the thing is there are so many people, so many crazy people in society, Amy. And I know this is the paranoia talking in me. And look, just because I'm
Are you gonna sit down with me and Wendy and watch true crime
look,
documentaries?
all I'm
Bring it on.
saying, just because I'm paranoid doesn't mean not everyone's out to get me. Okay. But look, the thing is this is you just don't know who you're dealing with. You could be like bringing
Welcome
something
to
up to a crazy
well,
person and they bring out a gun or they bring out some sort of like weapon.
welcome to being a woman. There are so many times where people are like, "Well, why didn't you stand up to that person, or why didn't you say something, or why did you say it with a smile?" I don't know if that person's crazy. I'm on the smaller stature side of the physical build. I can't afford to offend the wrong person, and you don't know which person's crazy. So like that peace that you feel in just those instances of your life, welcome to being a woman 100% of the time. Like
Yeah.
it's not great.
I'm telling you, Amy, it escalated quickly. And
I
let
can't
me
believe
just tell
water
you,
was thrown.
there were more people once the water got thrown, more people got involved in the movie theater. And let's just say that I think the person who threw the water immediately regretted making that
At
decision.
least it was water.
But it was, and can I just tell you, all this happened while watching Wicked. This was the movie that this was happening in,
Did
was
people sing
Wicked.
along in there too? Because that's been my concern. I wanna go see it, but I don't wanna hear other people sing.
No,
I wanna hear the movie.
no, nobody was singing in it and in the theater. But I do know AMC has been very, very aggressive with their letting you know, we will not tolerate singing in this theater. You
Well, then
know,
tell them about screens too. Hey, by the way, music, singing, and screens.
Yeah, I guess before we start talking about baseball, Amy, I need to hear from you because you are the most optimistic person in the world. Is there any hope for society, or am I just look at this point? Look, I will say this. Maybe this was it was my bad because I went to a movie theater that I normally don't go to. I usually have the Frida Cinema. Bless the Frida. Love my Frida Cinema. But cinephiles go to the Frida Cinema are people who are decent human beings and know how to conduct themselves
It
in
happens
society.
everywhere. I think you're being optimistic thinking that it doesn't happen in certain places. I think it may be less likely, but it's all over. It's at you go to sports bars, anywhere. It's just people not acting for the benefit of all.
So there's no hope. You're telling me it's not going to change?
I am usually optimistic. I will usually bust out a Care Bear stare. I think in this case you need to be a realist. Hold on, let me borrow your cloak, your Prince of Darkness cloak. Let me just attach this. I mean, yeah, you're just gonna have to accept that it's a lost cause.
Oh boy,
So, speaking
that's
I wonder
very
if
good.
any of our listeners have had experiences like that, but speaking of kind of engagement with our listeners, just I think if it warrants it, like, having a little bit of a listener's corner because we've gotten some really interesting feedback on some of the last couple episodes. I think you and I were talking about would we take the season tickets? Would we, take a
Oh no, yeah,
$300,000 payout?
a lot of people had feelings on that.
So DJ Jesse agreed with us. He would take the money and the season tickets, and he would buy lots of burritos with it. Siamese vodka was like, no go. Let's go big. You take the whole bag. You don't take the lesser amount. So we had some back and forth on that. So just different opinions. Um, we also had people kind of commenting on collecting baseball cards. I didn't see anything on the garbage pail kids. But we had Tim Otley 2100 saying that he used to collect baseball cards when he was younger too. And I think it's interesting. Maybe we can get into at some point when we have some more time, like what exactly does everybody collect? Like I know for me it's about the memories tied to it when we're collecting some of this stuff, but just curious what if not baseball cards, what else does everybody else collect?
And I believe DJ Jesse was the one who confirmed for us that they're called sleeves.
Yeah, I think so. Which is what you said in the episode. So hey, kudos to you.
I was overthinking it, I guess. I did not want to offend, because those collectors, they're serious people.
Well, and if there's a better name, they'll let us know. But yeah.
Let me ask you this real quick, Amie. Is there a difference between autograph seekers and collectors of whether baseball cards or baseballs or any other type of baseball memorabilia?
I don't know. I think you'd have to ask the professionals, because for me it's like whatever I'm into collecting I love collecting baseballs. My best friend loves pins, so I'll get her pins, and she has her own set. I have some of mine on like my bulletin board. It's just kind of whatever like strikes my fancy at the moment. I don't know.
The only reason why I ask is, I don't know, have you seen these crowds at these Dodger signings?
Yes.
Like, again, so I forget what Jack DeLance. I forget what the name of the production company is, but he's the man behind some of these signings with these Dodger players. And so he had this place, and it was in East LA, right off of the 60 freeway, kind of where the 60 and the 710 meet. And it's a really small place, and that's usually where he was doing the signings. But all of a sudden, he's been doing these signings at the Montebello Mall. And
I
I don't know
saw
if
the
you've
line.
seen the lines for Daddy Bonda. Like, Daddy Bonda, he is a box office draw. Like, the lines are wrapping around the top of the mall, and it just seems like
I just
those
think it's
people.
funny that people just found him. Like,
Well,
he's
I
been
mean,
here.
did they just find him, Amie, or we been in the dark on the appeal of Daddy Bonda?
I think that's where it's different layers, because I appreciate, much like Kike, I appreciate him as a player, and I think that's where it gets mixed. There are some people who
You're not
appreciate him.
objectifying Daddy Bonda? Is that what you're saying?
Do you do that with your players too? Is it just automatically assume that any player you have as a favorite, you're objectifying them?
No, I don't do that.
Oh, okay, you're above it.
No, it's just I'm a heterosexual man, so I always
You're not
feel
comfortable with your sexuality?
exactly. Please
Oh.
don't do this to me.
I just is okay, so where you get uncomfortable there, that's where I get frustrated as a woman. Like, not every player are we objectifying. Obviously, we know with Bonda, there's
I,
been
I, I only got uncomfortable, Amie, because you just pointed out how stupid I am. Because it is an unfair double standard that
Mhm.
because you are a female fan, you obviously only like a player because they're good looking, and it does feel like
I hate it. I
let's say
hate
I
when
brought
people make
shame
that
upon
assumption.
myself with that comment. Let's just say that. Go ahead.
But it doesn't mean that there aren't women who maybe aren't like fanatics. I mean, it can be anybody. Like, there can be straight men that still appreciate him and his looks. Like, it runs the gamut. I think he is a handsome man. I like what he does on the field. That could be totally different for some of the people standing in line in Montebello. I hate the automatic assumption that just because somebody is attractive, that must be why we like them. That's why you'll see me bristle about Kike. I know not everybody agrees with me, and that's fine. I think he truly is a great player. Is he Shohei
And
caliber?
for
No.
our listeners and our viewers, I felt the wrath of the Kika fan club in person. So I took one
It's our
for you
unofficial
guys.
fan club.
The unofficial fan club. I took one for you guys, so you guys won't have to experience this. I digress. Go ahead.
No, but I think that's the thing. Like, is there going to be a mix at a lot of this Montebello stuff? Absolutely, wherever there's going to be signings. But I just would like to get that out there too, that not everybody appreciates him just for the aesthetics. That it can be both. Luckily for women, we get both of those things. For men like you who maybe get uncomfortable, it's you just appreciate what he does on the field, and that's fine. We get to
I,
do both.
I'm not. It's not because of my sexuality. I got uncomfortable because I came off really, really stupid, and I'm just like, oh man, I totally came off as a caveman right now, and that's just not a good look.
Hey, but it gave us an opportunity to talk about it. So that's
Yeah,
always a good thing.
it's not a good look. But if you are one of a if you are an autograph seeker, or you are a collector of baseball memorabilia and want to explain to me the difference, is there a difference in attitude? Please leave it in the comments. Let us know. All
We can
right.
all learn together. The more you know.
Do do do. All right, let's talk some baseball. Amie, do you want to give us some updates on the team?
Oh my gosh. Should we start with the saddest one first? Brent Honeywell got non-tendered. Our
Are you
bullpen
really
dog.
surprised by that, though?
I am actually. I am. For what he did for the team, I'm hoping that this is like a strategic move and we're really gonna like sign him now that he elected free agency. I mean, a gal can dream.
Yes, a gal can dream. Look, this is not the first time they've done this to him. If you guys remember what happened
And
during the regular season,
he went down to the minors and got called back up. So is this a different way to work the system? I don't know.
well, I know and you might get into the next one, but he wasn't the only one.
No. So Zach Logue, also left-handed pitcher, he played in 2 games for the Dodgers. He got non-tendered as well and elected for free agency. We've got a couple of them. Connor Brogdon got outrighted to the Oklahoma City Comets. They signed Aaron Bracho, to a minor league contract. We selected the contract of Jack Dreyer, a left-handed pitcher, from the Oklahoma City Comets. Let's see, Giovanni Gallegos, a right-handed pitcher. He's a non-roster invitee to
That
spring
one
training.
interests me. That one.
Oh, we can get into our guys that we avoided arbitration on in a second. Why does it interest you?
Because that's a project. That's a project. Like Gallegos.
Hold on. Reclamation.
Oh, sing it. Sing it. He was, I mean, it might have been 2 seasons ago. He had a really strong season for the Cardenales of San Luis. And look, it's not 100% the track record, but the Dodgers do have this ability to pick up guys that for some reason other teams have soured on, and they fix them. Maybe they fix them for a short period of time. Maybe it's one season.
Tyler Anderson.
Tyler Anderson, Ryan Brazier. Brazier was a guy who was up and down. One season he was bad. The next season he was good. Look, Daddy Bonda was a guy who got released, and he ended up
uncomfortable with that.
And he ended up. I'm sorry. I just keep seeing everybody refer to him as Daddy Bonda. Now it's stuck in my head, and I just whenever But he was a guy who got released by the Guardians. And I thought, if you remember what happened with Ramirez last year, where I thought, okay, we have so many pitchers that are injured right now. This is just for a time period until everyone gets healthy. But Daddy Bonda stayed for the whole season.
And he was my favorite out of all of them. So I'm glad he stayed. I like what he did on the mound, but I don't like he would go out to center field, the plaza sometimes before games and talk, because sometimes they'll interview players beforehand or like in the dugout. And he always just had really cool stuff to say. So he was one of those ones where like once you get to see the personality of players, it's really kind of cool. It just humanizes them. They're not just the back of a baseball card. So he was one of those that I really wanted to stay. And I'm glad he did.
And did you see that he was at SoFi last night with a piece of metal?
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who are listening to the podcast, go to the YouTube and you can see Amie is wearing her piece of metal winners T-shirt.
Now that's for you, Manfred.
Oh, shouts out to Man Freddie. But look, it's a minor league deal with Gallegos.
He was there with Landon Knack and Joe Kelly too. It wasn't just Bonda.
That's right. Mariachi Joe was there and Landon Knack. But look, if the Gallegos thing can turn into something, as we saw last year, we can never have enough pitchers. So if they can get something out of that guy, I guess the big thing is with all these moves, and I get it, Brent Honeywell has become a folk hero. And I think Brent Honeywell has really become a folk hero because of the Max Muncy interview.
Mm-hmm.
Because Max Muncy went out of his way to say, how great Brett Honeywell is, and because he's just such a character with that mullet, and he just like,
hey, he got that perm right before the postseason. He let one of the fans.
He got the Kenny Powers. He got the Kenny Powers.
I think those of us who were watching the games, like some of us, like not just the scorekeepers, but some of us who watch religiously, like I feel like we understood the contribution. And then when Max Muncy called it out, we were like, well, yeah. But if you're a little bit more casual, or maybe you're the fan who just watches in the postseason and doesn't understand the magnitude, I mean, it was a big deal.
Well, he plays, I think, a very important role in this new age of Major League Baseball, where the relievers play such an important role in games, and that he's the long man. He's the guy that can save your bullpen in a game. And even though he will take a beating and give up 7 runs, he will pitch multiple innings. So you don't either have to use any of your high leverage guys or Kike doesn't have to come in and pitch. So
and he was there that day that I met you and your daughter down at field level when we were there for the postseason game, and he was playing catch with the little kidlets, like in what was it? I think it was left field.
yeah,
like he just took the time to play catch with them. Like those are the things I love, and that's why I'm a little bummed. I'm hoping that somehow we get to bring him back.
And this might not be the end of Brent Honeywell, but what it does do immediately is it opens all these moves that the Doyers made. They've opened up 2 roster spots in the 40-man. And that's what the important thing is, right? Because we're looking at free agents right now. They just met with Juan Soto. Again, I don't think that's serious, but as soon as Soto makes his decision, I think we're going to know what the Oscar's going to end up doing, because there are teams on the East Coast that are really pushing towards the Oscar. And this is all negotiation.
Or we just sign him now.
Well, and that might happen. We're getting into the December and next week. That was around the time that Shohei, mid-December was when Shohei signed. So we may start seeing a flurry of signings. I think the winter meetings are coming up, and that's really where things I think are going to get cooking, because people are going to be meeting and stuff like that. So
turn up the gas on your hot stove.
Stove. Go ahead.
We do have 2 others. So Dustin May and Tony Gonsolin avoided arbitration. So Dustin May signed a 1-year, $2.135 million contract. Tony Gonsolin a 1-year, $5.4 million contract. So
there we go. Any more moves?
Oh yeah. Did you see Chris Woodward is coming back?
And here's the thing that cracked me up about that, Amie. Look, you were I don't know. Did you see him at the stadium last year? Whenever you were working?
I'm trying to remember if I did or not. Maybe it was, it is such a blur at this point. It was every home weekend. So if you walk by, maybe, I don't know.
This why this was not a surprise to me. So Chris Woodward has been named the first base coach. So I know we had some comments on previous shows to have Justin Turner come back and be the first base coach. Guys, Justin Turner still wants to keep playing. And by the way, Justin Turner just had his golf tournament for his foundation. And again, the work that man does in the community, obviously he never stops working, but he
did rig it so that Pepio was on his team. Do you call it a team, a foursome? I don't know what the golf term is.
He wanted to take advantage of see if Pepio could do another hole-in-one like he did last year.
Hole-in-one? Yep. Yeah.
But last year when I was working games, I saw Chris Woodward out on the field.
He was a senior advisor for the Dodgers.
Yeah. So it was just like, it makes no, it was just a matter of time. I thought at this point, I think he's familiar with the team. He fits in perfectly. So it was not a surprise to me that they ended up naming Chris Woodward as the first base coach.
Well, and he's going to come in and he's going to work with the infielders, and Dino Ebel's going to shift his focus to the outfielders now. So they're going to kind of move some of that stuff around. But the Dodgers have already said they're going to retain the 2024 staff, with the exception of this move because McCullough left to go manage the Marlins. So it just goes to show that even when people leave, they still come back to LA. So there you go.
It's a fraternity, as long as you don't burn your bridge on the way out.
Right. Yeah. Well, and Brandon Gomes even said the pairing of Woodward and Ebel, it's one of the most talented duos in all of baseball right now. And I would tend to agree with Dino Ebel there at third base.
Dino Ebel is very, very well liked, not just in the Dodgers organization, but throughout all of Major League Baseball. I have never, I've heard fans get upset when he sends people for home, but I've never heard anyone say anything bad about, him as a person. And by the way, his son is killing it in high school baseball.
Both his sons are really good
out in Corona and Centennial. Yeah. Any more updates in terms of the roster?
No, I think that's it. Unless I missed something. So we're going to close the book on that one for right now.
Let's move on to the year-end awards. So last week when we last met you, I mean, we were last talking to you guys, the Rookie of the Year award was announced, and it was Paul Skeens. And look, am I surprised Paul Skeens won? No, but I did think it was going to be close with Jackson Merrill. Your thoughts on the Rookie of the Year, Amie?
No, I mean Paul Skeens, Luis Gil for the Yankees. I was just looking at a lot of the stats, honestly. Like I saw that it was posted that it was the first time since 1981 that both pitchers were, were
Rookie of the Years were pitchers.
Thank you. I'm like words. I'm trying to read my notes and they're so tiny, but it was Fernando Valenzuela and Dave Righetti. So I love how all these stats like just kind of come back. You can find a stat for anything.
Look, I want to tip my hat to Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens is a guy who came in with a lot of hype. Like, he was not in the minor leagues for that long before the Piratas called him up. And I think the only reason why he wasn't called up sooner, he probably could have started the season on the Piratas roster. But we all know what happens with this. The player, I mean, organizations are trying to control service time and stuff like that.
Well,
But
and they still went out of their way though to like give him the benefit that they didn't necessarily have to. Like they could have worked it in the team's favor or like the ownership's favor, and they still gave him some benefits that, I think maybe he didn't start out the season, but he still benefits from it. I think he's still going to get service time for this year.
oh yeah, he absolutely will.
And they could have angled it where he didn't.
Exactly. But look, this is a guy who he had a lot of hype coming in, and I feel he lived up to it. And this is a reason why I feel he lived up to it. Not only did he win the Rookie of the Year, Amie, do you know that he got a vote in all the other award categories?
Oh,
He got votes for Cy Young, and he got votes for MVP.
Good
now,
for him.
We'll get to MVP when we talk about the unicorn. But
I don't have that on my list to talk about tonight.
He got
Just kidding.
he got 3 votes. He got 3 votes for MVP, but he's the only player to do that this year to get votes in every category in terms of Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, and MVP. So I tip my hat to that guy. Now the real question is, can he maintain it? Can he consistently, pitch the way he pitched this year? And if he does that, he is on the trajectory of having himself a hell of a Major League Baseball career.
And if he doesn't, if he has a little bit of a rocky sophomore start, like that's to be expected too. I hope he excels and, hits the ground running. If that's not the case though, I hope people around baseball will give him grace, because even we saw with Walker Buehler, everybody's on the Walker train right now, but those same people were knocking him down at the beginning of the season when he was having those rocky starts. So let's all just remember to give people a little bit of grace.
Well, I'll give you another comp, but I feel Paul Skeens had a better rookie season. But Bobby Miller was a guy after his rookie season that everybody was like, putting him up as the next ace, and then look what happened. So I think your point is very well taken. And it's definitely something to keep an eye on. Skeens' sophomore season. I mean, I think another guy that you can think of is Strasburg of the Nationals. That unfortunately the injuries just really took a toll on that guy. But that guy, I think, had a different trajectory with his career. He doesn't get injured. Who knows? But he's out of the game now. So it could
sounds
change.
Like they're all human.
Well, yeah, it can change so quickly. Tim Lincecum won 2 Cy Young awards, and after that, he was just like he couldn't get anybody out. And it's very interesting.
I've heard it said around baseball. Mookie Betts has even said it. Baseball is hard.
It is.
They make it look easy, and that's why they're professionals. But baseball is hard. You see a lot of, even just as all the trade rumors are kind of going around, and we'll talk about that more later. But I keep seeing a bunch of stuff about they were a great outfielder or an infielder, but their offensive production kind of fell off, and it's like, yeah, because hitting's hard.
It's hard.
We did see the Manager of the Year award on Tuesday. So National League was Brewers, so Pat Murphy won that. And then for the American League, that was the Guardians. Steven, how do you say his last name? Is it Voigt?
I think it's Voigt.
Voigt. Okay.
Yeah, I believe so. I'm sure Jose Ayala will correct us.
He will let us know, but it was they were both first-year managers. So they were I saw it kind of bandied around social media. It was a first-year skipper sweep.
And you know what? The shouts out to David Wants a Taco, because David Wants a Taco called it when they named the nominees. He called a shot and said Pat Murphy of the Cerveceros should be the clear winner. Like I have no qualms with him. I do find it very interesting that Carlos Mendoza finished third. That Mike Schilt of the Show Pods, finished ahead of him. I talked about this in our last
Which is
episode.
interesting too, because those guys made it to the postseason too. Like,
Well, but the Mets were dead. We talked about
Mhm.
this. The Mets are
and
dead. It
not
was like, have a
and to be
fire sale.
clear, not that the postseason is the indicator of why you should win. It's what you do throughout the season.
And
However,
technically, postseason should not factor in, because this voting should have been done at the end of the year. But again, the Metropolitans had the best record in Major League Baseball since June.
mm,
I'm surprised that Mendoza finished in third. The other thing I'm really surprised about, because when we talked about this, was that, I know you were upset that Dave Roberts wasn't in the top three, and we thought, well, what if he finished fourth? Dave Roberts didn't even finish in the top 5 in
which is
these.
astounding to me with what he did with that team to get them to the postseason. So just from a regular season perspective, but hey,
Dave Roberts was 7th in Manager of the Year. He only got 3 votes. And for those of you who are not familiar with how these ballots work, now for MVP, Rookie of the Year, and Cy Young, you rank 1 through 10. The players, and based on that, that's, you get first place votes, you get second place votes, third place votes, on and on. So for Manager of the Year, they only go out to 3. So you get first place votes, second place votes, and third place votes. Dave Roberts got 3 third place votes. That's all the votes he got. He didn't get a first place vote from anybody. He didn't get a second place. He got a total of 3 votes, and all 3 of them were for third place in Manager of the Year.
haters.
Yeah, I'm just the people ahead of him. Brian Snitker was ahead of him with 4 third place votes, and Rob Thompson of the Phillies of Philadelphia was ahead of him. He got 1 first place vote.
Do they have to do? Is it like, in my imagination, this is what I envision. Like, could it just be essay style where you defend your vote and why? Because
When you said essay style, I really thought you were going chola on me right now. I was like, what do you
oh
mean by essay?
sorry, no, like
I forgot. You're educated. I get it. All right.
my bad. Writing. I mean, we could go essay style on it if you want. You get to make the rules for that, but I'm just like, do you have to defend your decision, or do you just like, okay, I voted?
No, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, if you are someone of integrity, I guess you could write your own article and put it out there and say, this is the reason why I voted. But we all know it, that by then it's like nobody cares.
Mm.
Everyone has already made up their opinion about, like, why wasn't Dave Roberts in the top 3? I was just surprised that he was almost dead to last of the people
Mhm.
that got votes. And everybody has said, and this is not even counting the postseason, everyone that covers the team has pretty much said this is probably his best managerial job during the regular season. And he almost was second to last in the Manager of the Year vote.
Which to me is like, that's where I really like, what criteria are they voting on? Like, and to be fair, I didn't do a deep dive to try to figure out, hey, how do they do this, or is it just personal choices they're going in and voting? I have not done any research on it, but I am curious because that is a little bit of a head scratcher to me.
I think that's going to be an argument forever, because the criteria, I don't think, is ever going to be defined. I mean, I think we're going to
All right,
have,
we're
we
gonna
have the
have to
same
just go
issue,
become credentialed writers. Like, we're gonna have to move through the ranks so we can figure it out.
because this argument we're having now is very easily had for MVP. So
Yes, that was Thursday. So before we hop into Thursday, Cy Young was announced on Wednesday, and that was Braves Chris Sale for the National League, and then the Detroit Tigers for the American League is Tarek Skubal. Skubal?
Yeah. And look, I don't think you can argue there because both of those guys won the Triple Crown of pitching
Yeah.
in their respective leagues. So
That was astounding. That was pretty cool.
So I think that's a no doubter. You really can't argue there. So let's just go to the one that really matters, Amie.
Okay. Which one?
Go ahead.
Is there one that matters?
Yeah, let's talk about MVP.
Okay, so for the American League, Aaron Judge won for the Yankees.
I'm not surprised by that. I mean, I think that I mean, what's really interesting in that is he won unanimously. He got all 30 first place votes.
This is
And
his second time winning.
The guy in second, Bobby Witt Jr., got all 30 second place votes. So it was very clear in the American League, at least to people, that Judge is the best and Bobby Witt was clearly the second best. Juan Soto got himself some votes for third. But I think it was very clear in the American League what they wanted, and that it was unanimous. And I don't that's the way it should be. I'm not surprised by it.
So that moves us on into trade talk, right? I mean, that's
no. Give me the National League MVP, please.
Oh, good, because I have a whole bunch of notes on this. So, of course, as we were all hoping, Shohei Ohtani unanimously won MVP, first guy to come in as a DH, and this is his third time winning, but his second consecutive MVP, and now he has won in the American and the National League. I needed a whole new page for all the other stuff for him.
Do you want to keep going?
I mean, I can. Did you have anything you wanted to throw in?
I'm just very glad that he won unanimously. I was really, I know there was a narrative for Francisco Lindor. And the thing is when you look at the vote for Francisco Lindor, he got 23 second place votes, and then he got 7 third place votes. So this narrative that we saw towards the end of the year that Francisco Lindor should be the MVP, I'm just so glad that the people who vote for this award did not ignore the eye test. And that was the Unicorn had a 50-50 season. The Unicorn did something that no one else has ever done. So can we stop fooling ourselves? Like, this is clearly the most value. And let's not even take into account the amount of pressure that this guy has to deal with because he is the Unicorn. People expect him to go ahead and do unexpected things, the stolen bases and all that. So I'm just glad that these people actually were reasonable and weren't holding up a pair of white shoes and telling me they were blue. It's like, come on. So,
well, and to your point, 54 home runs, 59 stolen bases. Like we know, he's the first member of the 50-50 club. He started it. He probably finished it. I don't know that we'll see that, anytime in the future. First year with the new team via free agency. So he's, starting in a whole new organization. And he's the only player to win MVP unanimously multiple times. And he's done so 3 times now. And that was a pretty cool stat from Sarah Langs. So
not only 3 times, but he's getting up into rarefied air where I believe, and someone needs to correct me on this. So I'm not going to go on the limb.
Don't go on the record, because you know what just happened right now. Jose Ayala just turned the volume up on his AirPods or his earphones a little bit more.
Yeah, he's probably looking it up right now to see where I'm messing up. But Barry Bonds, I believe, has 4 MVPs in his career. I'm trying to see who has the most MVPs. Oh, so no, I am wrong. It's not 4. Barry Bonds has 7 MVPs.
Oh, wow.
So he won in 1990, 92, 93, and then from 2001 through 2004. I didn't know he won MVP that many. I thought it was 4. He has won MVP 7 times.
The more you know.
So here I am thinking Shohei is getting close to Barry Bonds, and he's not even halfway to Barry Bonds. Shohei has 3. Mike Trout has 3 MVPs. Albert Pujols has 3 MVPs. A-Rod has 3 MVPs. See, Mike Schmidt, I thought Mike Schmidt had 4, but it turns out he only has 3. Mickey Mantle has 3. Yogi Berra has 3. Campanella has 3. Stan Musial has 3. Joe DiMaggio, Jimmy Fox, excuse me, not
I was like, Jamie Foxx.
not the quarterback of the Miami Sharks, ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy Fox. Aaron Judge has 2.
I was thinking back to the In Living Color days. My bad.
In living color, you
Didn't he
can
play
do what you
Wanda
want.
on that show?
Yeah, he did play Wanda. Look, all I'm saying is all the people that have 3, as long as they
He's
weren't
in good
associated,
company.
yeah, as long as they're not associated with steroids, are in the Hall of Fame. So the unicorn, look, the resume is building. Well, Mike Trout's not associated with steroids, but Mike Trout's going into the Hall of Fame. But damn, Barry Bonds. And this is again what is so infuriating with Barry Bonds is he didn't have to do it. He didn't have to go on the juice. But
do we need a moment of silence for your frustration?
no,
Wait.
it's just tragedy. Tragedy. So, but yeah, I just don't think we can take for granted what. Oh wow, I got the thumbs up. Gladiator 2, thumbs down, ladies and gentlemen. I just don't think we need to make sure that the unicorn gets enough credit for doing this. I'm just so glad that he won unanimously. One of the other things I do want to point out, though, other Dodgers that got MVP votes. Did you see that, Amie?
No, go for it. Tell me.
Federico Freeman got 6 votes.
Ooh.
Now, Teoscar got 3 votes. This is the one that is very interesting to me.
Mookie?
Yeah. Mookie got 24. And you have to sit there and go, what if? Like, what if Mookie would have stayed healthy? Would Mookie then have been Shohei's biggest competition for
look
winning?
at Mookie and Freddie were up against each other last year. Like in the contention. Like obviously there were other players in there, but there were so many people speculating that them both being part of that race was actually hurting the other.
Yeah, and the thing is before Mookie got hurt, I mean, there was a big belief in Major League Baseball that he was the MVP because of what he was asked to do by the Dodgers. And I know it's all revisionist and it doesn't matter, but the fact that Mookie went down, if Mookie stays healthy, do we get a 50-50 season from Shohei? Because Shohei put it in a different gear once Mookie got hurt. Yep. Like he started.
You can see the
bases.
Difference in the stealing bases once Mookie went out.
So it's a very interesting what if, if Mookie stays healthy. But for me, they finally did it right. They got it right. These guys are unanimous. Anything else?
This would be a very different conversation if that vote had gone any other way, and I don't think you would be quite so jovial.
No, I wouldn't. If it was not unanimous, this would have been an early version of Festivus. We would have had airing of grievances on this episode, and I'm preparing myself because there's gonna be an airing of grievances if Ichiro doesn't get in unanimously into the Hall of Fame, that is going to be a Festivus episode. There will be airing of grievances there.
Okay, I'm going to get my mustard ready for your nose, little dormouse. We'll calm you down.
Ohio.
Oh, my goodness.
Alice
in Wonderland outfit out.
Anything else on year-end awards before we move on?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, you brought something up to me, to my attention, and that is the Fair Ball Act. Amie, can you set this up for some of our listeners, viewers who are not aware of what the Fair Ball Act is and the news that we got about the Fair Ball Act?
Yeah, so I have a whole bunch of notes. So MLBPA, the Players Association, the executive director, Tony Clark, made a statement that the union fully supports the Fair Ball Act. And essentially what that does is it reforms the Save America Pastime Act, so the SAPA. So I'll read parts of his statement. So it says, so the federal minimum wage exception for minor league players applies only when players are receiving alternate protection through collective bargaining processes. It appropriately narrows the SAPA so that minor league players will be exempted from federal wage and hour laws if and only if their compensation has been determined via good faith collective bargaining, which was great that they put that out there. But what does that mean in layman's terms? So
I was going to say, can you give me the 5 peso version?
yeah, we're gonna go the 101 version. So it's basically, they were saying that this is a win for minor league players, for baseball, and for workers and collective bargaining as a whole, because minor league players living and working conditions were indefensible prior to this. So poverty level wages, substandard living conditions, inadequate food and nutrition. They were saying that they were treated essentially as second class citizens versus the world class athletes that they are as they're coming through the ranks. And this was enabled by antitrust exemption and the 2018 passing of that SAPA congressional mandate. So it was enacted for league and team members. It essentially just stripped the minor leaguers of their minimum wage protections. So when they joined the MLBPA, the players union, in 2022, they got to have their first collective bargaining agreement in 2023, and that made the dramatic improvements. So now they can, the salary during both the playing and the training seasons, they can negotiate those in good faith versus living in more of those like poverty like conditions. Because I mean, we've heard the horror stories, like 6 guys sharing a room, living off like Twinkies because they don't have enough money as they're like traveling from place to place. How are you supposed to be this top tier athlete if you're not getting the rest that you need? You don't have the nutrition, and we're basically treating you like indentured servants as you make your way up. And maybe when you make it to the show, you'll finally make enough money to live. Like, it's just, I'm glad that they're moving this in the right direction.
Yeah, it's amazing that it took this long to get where we're at, and I think this was probably there. I believe there was a strike in 2014 related to this that probably added pressure to this. Look, the one thing I will say is, to be a minor league baseball player, you really got to love baseball.
Mm-hmm.
You absolutely have to love baseball, because even though conditions have improved, if you talk to any of those guys and they share with you their minor league experience playing on fields that are like in a horrible condition, playing in parts of the country that the weather is just not suited to play baseball in, where the infield is like frozen and stuff like that, and you're constantly riding a bus, and it's like, and you've heard stories of guys who've been in the minor leagues for like 10 years. Like, you really got to love baseball.
Michael Peterson, what was it? British Gas? English
Yeah.
Gas? What was it?
British Gas.
Yeah. And it's not just those guys, it's their families too. Some of these people are married, some, or, just their families in general. You're either away from them. If I'm living in a place with 5 guys, like where does my potential wife or girlfriend fit into that? Or how often do I get to see them? Like, it's time away. It's a lot of factors, and it impacts more than just the player themselves. And as we've seen, when you don't have your family or your friends being able to surround you, it makes that much harder to go up through the ranks and have that support system too.
And just to play devil's advocate, I mean, I would love to be able to talk to someone who actually owns and runs a minor league baseball club, because look, you and I, we went down to Rancho Cucamonga and saw there, the stadium was not full. I don't get the impression
it was also raining. Let's be fair.
but
but it was Joe Kelly jersey night, so
yeah, it was mariachi. It was the mariachi giveaway. But I also feel like those places don't make a lot of money, right? But my thing is this, right? And that is, if someone is making money off of you, they should share in the pot, and you should be able to get something. And what was happening before all of these changes to the minor league system was, these guys were exactly what you said, Amy. They were being
okay, I get the point. I'll send your paycheck next week.
No, I get it, because what we saw was, and I think it was maybe around after the pandemic, you saw a lot of minor league baseball teams go away because they just could not survive financially. They couldn't do this. And this is why, again, I would love to be able to talk to someone who owns a minor league baseball club in terms of how much support do they get from the big club, right? And because the big club's going to use all their resources on the major league club. Now, the Dodgers a long time ago started investing not only in the minor leagues, but they started investing in international camps, which is something they went away from, during the McCourt years. So I just want to be fair to this. While look, I am all for. I do not believe you workers should be exploited. It should be fair what they're
Any
getting.
workers.
Because I know there's a lot of people who own small businesses who are not fans of minimum wage because they're just like, I can't afford to pay my people, and if you keep increasing the minimum wage, I can't. And so what happens? Their jobs go away. So stuff like that. So
or you raise the prices and people scream. But it's if I know I'm eating someplace and there's people serving me that can't, even it's barely a minimum wage, if even that. I will pay. I would rather pay the extra money to help supplement that, because I mean, if I can go to a restaurant or somewhere and eat, but the people who are serving me can't live, that's just that's rough.
It's not a perfect system, and that's the reason why I say, man, if you are willing to play in the minor leagues, you really love baseball. I really feel like that is the reason why a lot of young kids will go play basketball, will go play football, because they don't have to deal with the minor leagues in basketball and football, and they're going to be making a lot of money.
And not everybody's an Emmett Sheehan that ends up jumping, over a couple tiers and getting moved up. It was interesting to see just from the basics of what was posted. I didn't realize there's more than 6,000 members of the Major League Baseball Players Association, and there's more than 5,500 minor league members. So just like random, like, wow, impressive.
Yeah. Anything else before we go into a hot topic here?
No, go for it. Wait, hot topic? Are we getting out like our dark black eyeliner? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, wow. Look, this is now time for mind-numbing trade talk. Trade talk. I can't stand this time of year where people just write these rumors up and then all of a sudden everybody starts talking about them like they're true, which is what we're about to do right now. So I am.
Well, I was just going to say, actually, I think we're kind of jumping on a certain somebody's agent's bandwagon of like, why are we doing that?
Well, look, do you want to start there? Do you want to start with Sasaki?
Yeah.
Before these trade rumors, go ahead with the Sasaki.
Well, because the rest is all just, that's what it is. Just like you, it's rumors. I totally agree. He talked to so-and-so. Well, yeah, he talked to so-and-so, but it was just more of a formality. And it's like, let's not make things bigger than they are. So Roki Sasaki's agent, Joel Wolf, is upset because there are rumors of a supposed Dodgers handshake deal, and people are calling it poor sportsmanship. And he's saying that, it's a bad look for him, like that people are just assuming that that's something that he would go along with. And it makes everybody look bad. To me, it's poor form on the people who are running these rumors around. Like, unless they're not allowed to do that. First of all, let's just put that out there. And Rob Manfred has already outlined, like, that is not okay. It's not an okay practice. But is it more because the Dodgers have a target on their back that this is happening? Or, I don't know. Do you want to add to that?
You know what? I sat there and I thought he would have been better off not saying anything at all. Right.
Well, I think it's being said without him saying anything, because there are executives that are out there chirping that the Dodgers did this handshake deal. And I mean, I get where he's coming from. Like, don't you saying that, whether it's about the Dodgers or not, that reflects poorly on him as an agent. And that's not okay.
And that's what I thought about the other side of the argument, which is if you don't say anything, then you're allowing someone else to control the narrative or write the narrative for you, right? Here's the reason why I sit there, and I still don't know where I stand on this, because in the end, if Sasaki signs with the Dodgers, all of this is going to be null and void because everybody assumed this was going to happen. And it's, look, the Dodgers have gone out there. They signed Shohei. They signed Yamamoto. they're very invested in the Japanese market. If you are Sasaki, like, obviously that's got to be appealing because, there are two countrymen that are already there. This organization cares about Japan. Like, it seems like there's a lot of stuff that is relatable. They just won the World Series. They're going to be constantly in competition. If I go there, I'm going to be seen. My profile is. There's so many reasons, legitimate reasons, for him to sign with the Dodgers. So I don't think it's completely off base for everyone to say it's a done deal. He's going to the Dodgers.
But
Right?
whether they did it with integrity or not is what's in question, and that's where I would bristle. Like, whether it's a foregone conclusion that he goes to the Dodgers. Don't call out a team and say like, oh, well, they were spitting in their hands and shaking their hands, before, and I saw them. Like, did you? Is that really what happens? And you're never going to be able to get rid of that narrative. Even if he does sign with the Dodgers, there are going to be people who believed that's what happened from the get.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is. Because if you sit there and you say, "Look, we're listening to all offers," and then they end up signing with the Dodgers anyways. When you get asked, "Well, I thought you guys were listening to all offers," and it's like, "Well, yeah, we were."
But
And
that's
the
same.
thing,
You could apply the same thing to Soto right now. Like, he just went and talked to the Dodgers. He may not even end up here. The Dodgers may not even want him. They may just be doing it as a formality. But you've got the Dodgers just have so much money, and that he could sign with them. Well, he could sign with a number of teams. The same could be said of Sasaki. He has a mentor relationship with Yu Darvish. He could go to the Padres for all anybody knows. I don't know if you saw Manfred made a statement, but there was a little bit of like financial information put out there that I thought actually kind of lends itself to the Dodgers situation. So they could have either posted him and he could have potentially signed in the December 15th in the 2024 class, like we talked about last week, or wait for the 2025 class and sign around January 15th. So Rob Manfred said that he expected Sasaki to be part of the 2025 international signing class. The signing will most likely happen in the new pool period. What's interesting about that is the Dodgers have the most money left in their 2024 bonus pool. They have 2.5 million, which is more than any other team right now in the MLB. However, when the 2025 team or the signing pool opens up, everybody gets a fresh allotment of money. So that, while it evens the playing field, which again, we talked about that before, the Dodgers are potentially going to have about 5.1 million available, and other teams will have 7.5 million. So if he does sign with the Dodgers, he's potentially taking a cut on what he could make with other teams. So there's still that in play of like, okay, you can say what you want, but if the Dodgers have a lesser amount than other teams and he signs with the Dodgers, then it just like there are some people who will sign for lesser money. Teoscar took that 1-year contract, bet on himself with the Dodgers, and it paid off. Some people, that's what works for them. Mike Trout, we don't know what his motivations are. He's still in Anaheim. Is it for family reasons? Does he like the team? Like, what is the reason? Everybody has different reasons for why they would sign, and nobody's have to be the same.
all excellent points. I'm glad that you brought up the international allotment money that can be used for signings. That being said, if obviously it would have been the Dodgers' best interest to have to sign him in 2024. But that doesn't mean that the Dodgers can't make moves between now and 2025 to free up more international money and have it be equal to what anybody else can offer.
Sure.
I just think it's one of these narratives that has already been established, and it's going to be just really, no matter what this guy says, it's going to be really hard unless Sasaki signs with another team other than the Dodgers.
It's the same thing, even though you could pick a topic, like pick the Mickey Mouse World Series. For everybody who talks smack about that, yes, it was a shorter season, but no other team won it either. Whether you want to consider
Right.
it a half World Series ring or not, no one else won that half series. So I just like that's the stuff where I don't understand. Like it, much like what we started the show with, is society crumbling? Like everybody's going to have their viewpoint, and it's we don't all agree. But if you want to be upset and be a poor sport about certain things, fine. That's your prerogative.
Yeah, that's why I don't know where to stand, because you really are damned if you do or damned if you don't.
Mhm.
Because like I said, the only thing that's really going to change it is if he ends up signing with the show pods, then people will say, "Oh, I guess he was telling the truth,"
And
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 then they're
and
not
who
going to give
cares
him the
though?
credit. Yeah,
Right, and at the end of the day, I think that's where, like, my best friend's really good at this. It's the, "So what?" Okay, so what they're talking about you. Like, you've said this to me before when we've gotten negative comments or people just being surly just to be surly. Like, it's one thing to have an open conversation like, "Hey, guys, let's talk. We love having you in our comments." But when people just make comments just to make them, and it's like, well, you're not gonna make everybody happy. And I think this is one of those situations, to your point, if he signs with the Padres, then people, like, they back off a little bit on the Dodgers, but what did that accomplish? Nothing.
yeah. So I mean, it is. We'll see what happens, because it does seem now that maybe in the interest to try to protect their integrity, they are going to wait until January. But like I said, I could see the Dodgers making minor moves to free up more money internationally, and then at that point, what are people are going to say? Because again, I still, it all points to the same thing. If he signs with the Dodgers, everyone's going to believe it was a done deal. And then if he doesn't sign with the Dodgers, no one's going to go back and say, "Well, I guess we were wrong." Right?
And that's
It,
why you just to me, it's like, I don't like, it's irritating, but it's like, "Okay, that's your opinion. Thank you." Like, it's not gonna change anything. The Dodgers are still gonna go out and contend, and they're gonna sign the best players that they can, and you know what? Thank goodness we're on this side of the team.
exactly. So now that we're speculating, let's speculate some more. I'm going to give you two trade rumors that I think are absolute bullshit, but
Go
I want
for
to
it.
hear your thoughts on this. Because I don't know who started it. I don't know who was the first person who wrote these articles, but someone wrote them, and now everybody is talking about them. And the first one is a reunion with Cody Bellinger. So
I knew you were gonna bring this up.
there's this rumor out there that the Cubs are going to trade Cody Bellinger and that the Dodgers would be the perfect trade partner. Now, mind you, while all this is happening, there's rumors that the Dodgers are trying to extend contract negotiations with Tommy Tanks. So,
Mhm.
in terms of the Cody Bellinger, your thoughts, Amy?
I mean, from whatever I read on it, I mean, they're potentially looking to move him because they didn't like his production on the team. So I don't know
What does that sound like?
any number of baseball people.
That sounds like the Dodgers the last year that Cody Bellinger played for the Dodgers, right?
Well, right. So to that end, like, why would we pick him back up? I'm not
That's what I'm
saying I'm
saying.
opposed, but like, we already have we have multiple center fielders. Like, you've got Baez, we want, Tommy Edmond to come back. Like, you've got Kike, who I'm really still hoping that they sign. Like, we've got options. So I don't know. We have reclamation production problems on our offensive, like, challenges ahead of us. So I don't know why you'd, I don't know, pick that one
Let,
back up.
let's look at the pros and cons here.
Okay.
Pros is if they do trade for Cody Bellinger, they don't need Cody Bellinger to be the Cody Bellinger that the Dodgers needed him to be in the past, because he's coming into a lineup that has Mookie Betts, Federico, and the Unicorn. Okay. Now, if you look at his numbers for last year, he hit 266. He had 18 home runs. He had 78 RBIs. Do I think the Dodgers could probably get that same level for production from somewhere else? Like maybe their own outfielder, Andy Pages? Could over a full season, could Andy Pages give you that kind of production? Uh, uh, to me, there's more cons than pros in this. One
Mhm.
of the cons is we need to move forward. The Dodgers have too often done this reunion stuff with Matt Kemp, with Russell Martin, and it works for a little bit, but in the end, they end up moving on. So there is that sentimental value in terms of reunions, but really, primarily, the reason why I don't like this is trade assets. You're going to waste trade assets on getting Cody Bellinger, where you could use those trade assets maybe to get greater needs. And like in free agency, like I said, if you bring back the Oscar, you got Tommy Tanks in center field, you got Andy Pacas in right field, you have utility guys like someone like Ike who can play the outfield. Chris Taylor can play the outfield. I don't know if your trade assets, if you want to use them for Cody Bellinger.
It's not worth it to me. I think because of all the things that you just said, and just I don't think it's worth it at this time.
No,
if he had an exceptional year and they still wanted to trade him because they're rebuilding, maybe, but in this case, no.
Okay, so another bullshit rumor that I heard is this Carlos Correa rumor. Did you hear this one?
I did not, and I do not want him.
Exactly. And I'm sure this is the fan portion of this is very interesting because I don't know how much of a factor it really is going to be in terms of the Dodgers making this decision. But in terms of the Dodgers need a shortstop and that they should trade for Carlos Correa. I don't
Negative.
get it. I
No.
don't get it, Amie.
And he's had so many physicals issues with teams, like taking him, backing out, like that's setting aside all of the Astro stuff. I don't want him. Not worth it.
Here's the thing: is Carlos Correa?
I give him a big thumbs down.
He was an all-star last year. Okay,
that's nice. Mm-hmm.
So he had 14 home runs, he had 54 RBIs, and he hit 310. Okay. I really like the batting average. I like that. Again, to get Carlos Correa, these are going to be trade. You need trade assets. It's the same argument that I give in terms of Bellinger. I would rather use my trade assets for something else other than Carlos Correa because I think that level of production you can get from somewhere else. Now, Carlos Correa is also 30 years old and he makes over $30 million. At least, I think last year or maybe 2 years ago, he made 35 million in 2022. Let's see. He is still owed a lot of money. So, going into this year, he's owed 37 million. Then 2026, he's owed 32 million. 2027, 31. And then 2028 is 31. And he'll be 33 in 2028.
Can he stay healthy though? Because he only played in 86 games last year.
Yeah, that's a big if. So
doesn't he have knee problems, if I'm remembering correctly?
Yeah, I don't know who started this rumor. Like I would not want to use my trade assets for Carlos Correa. I would rather look, you have an advantage with your pocketbook. And as much as everybody wants to give crap about checkbook baseball, for me, I would much rather spend that money in free agency, go after Willy Adames, see if you can get him, than give up assets. Because if you don't make trades in the offseason, you don't know what's going to happen during I think trade assets are very, very important, and I just would not waste them on those two guys.
I agree. I don't want him, period. And I think you're going to have a contingent of just the Dodgers fan base that would be absolutely against it, just on principle. So to me, like, what does that do in the clubhouse? Because that's always a factor to me too.
Let's talk about that. Because look, in terms of the clubhouse, I don't know if that's real or not. Because Justin Turner went and played for Alex Cora. Both Justin Turner and Kike played for Alex Cora in Boston. They said they talked to him about it, but they ended up playing a whole season for him. And
yeah, but Alex Cora didn't like outright make comments like Correa did, and
But if you read the books, Alex Cora played. Now, Alex Cora may have been
I'm
one
not
of the
saying
fall
he didn't
guys,
play a big
but
part.
he played. Yeah,
sure, but the media press conferences and whatnot before the season started. What was it in? I don't know, 2020, I think. And even just the interactions, even with just Joe Kelly, who wasn't even on the team when the scandal happened. But I don't think his attitude's a good fit for our clubhouse.
So let me ask you this. The year after the news came out about the scandal, I felt that it really affected mentally Jose Altuve. Altuve had a really bad season that year. Do you
Was that after the scandal or after the trash can stopped banging?
Well, after it came out that it
Okay.
was confirmed
Just clarifying.
that they did all this stuff. So I'm curious. Let's say this, crazy scenario is true, and the Dodgers end up trading for Carlos Correa, and the Dodger fans don't welcome him. And every time he goes up to bat at Dodger Stadium, he's getting booed mercilessly. Would you think that would impact his performance?
I don't know. Maybe he's a player who thrives on that. I don't know. Potentially. I mean, there's got to be some kind of an impact, right?
And the thing is that can't be a good look for your team to be constantly booing one of your own players. And the Dodgers seem to be a team that pays attention to this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why when I saw this rumor, I was like, you guys are really going to make me talk about this? Yeah. Now watch.
You decided to talk about it. You had the option to not bring it up.
After I do this, the news is going to break tomorrow. The Dodgers have traded for Carlos Correa.
I hope not.
I just would not.
This is me in my fan capacity, not speaking in any other thing as a fan. I hope not.
Look, if you believe what was said when he became a free agent, it didn't seem like the Dodgers actively pursued him. So why would they go after him in a trade?
We don't know that anything that was said there is actually like corroborated. Again, it goes back to being a rumor. So
mind-numbing trade talk, Amie.
I mean, I just want them to hurry up and re-sign Theo and Kike, figure out what's going on with Bueller. Flaherty his name was floating out there in the trade rumors this week with, of course, we know he wants to stay a Dodger, but the Yankees.
You heard a trade rumor for Flaherty? What are they going to do? Sign and trade?
Oh no, sorry, not trade rumor, but just free agency signings. Oh, my bad, not trade rumor, but just.
I was like, I haven't heard that one. I mean, now people are really somehow fan fiction.
No,
that's fan fiction on.
That's me. That's me misspeaking. Jose Ayala, we caught it. Just that he's being pursued. Sorry, better word. In his free agency, Jack Flaherty is being pursued by potentially the Dodgers, but he'd be a good fit with the Yankees, the Padres, or the Angels.
I heard that about Walker Buehler, that the Yankees were looking at Walker Buehler.
I've heard we heard the Braves last week.
Yeah.
I mean, all teams are going to be interested in the good players that are leading the league. I would like to see Flaherty come back just because we need pitching and he wants to be here. So much like we talked about last week, he's already showed his hand. So take advantage of that. Like, let's bring him back.
Okay. Any other crazy trade rumors before we go to our last topic?
No, other than not necessarily a trade rumor, but just Blake Snell's name being floated out there. As you hear.
That's some more free agent talk. Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna end the show on this story, which is, it turns out that the person that caught Federico's grand slam from game 1 of the World Series is actually auctioning off that ball. Amie, you want to give us the details on this?
Yeah. So, and of course, right when I open it, my page disappears. I love it. You gotta love. Here we go. So it is being auctioned off. The family is saying that they hope the ball will be displayed in Dodger Stadium so all Dodgers and baseball fans can view a very special piece of history for the city of Los Angeles. Which, when I sent it to you, I think my message was like, I don't understand if they're auctioning it. How's it going to end up in Dodger Stadium? I don't know necessarily that the Dodgers are willing to like throw in a potentially multi-million-dollar bid, but maybe I'm misunderstanding something in the article.
If you bought that ball, would you let that ball out of your hands?
No.
I mean, I guess you could get insurance on it. I don't even know. Yeah, because it's memorabilia. I think you can insure.
I believe you'd have to insure it, but at that point, okay, but so it's insured and somebody steals it. Now what? Like,
This has now become a whole new, and I know this is going back to some of the comments that we got on our previous episodes, where I know both Amie and I were like, we don't need that stress in our life. Just give me my money and all that stuff. But this is all other stuff that has never crossed my mind, that I never thought I would have to deal with all this other stuff. It's just like, just give me my money. Yeah, I got the ball here. Give me my money, or give me my 30 years worth of season tickets in Loge behind home plate.
Well, and it's funny because before all these like high dollar, like momentous occasions for like a baseball, to me, it's like, I would just want to catch it and keep it. Now it's made it impossible to keep it because now you've got a target on your back. So like you can't even catch it and have that in your possession unless like, I mean, I don't want somebody pulling a heist. We don't need like it wasn't Heat. What's the other one with Edward Norton and Robert De Niro?
The Score?
The Score. Yeah, I don't need something like that happening. No.
Wow, so, Amie, you really broke my heart right now. You mentioned The Score over Heat. You did
oh
that
no,
to me?
I just meant
that to me.
No,
right
I just meant that De Niro was in both of those, and I was trying to remember which one.
Yeah, but
one is
a masterpiece. One is a masterpiece.
Yes, Heat is. The Score is like a.
It's okay. It's all right.
It's all right. It's on. I guess I'll
exactly.
Watch it.
It's exactly.
No, Heat is a classic. I love that movie.
I mean, look, you're walking.
And then Freddie Freeman's grand slam ball devolved into Heat versus my mistake over The Score.
One of the things, like, yeah, could you imagine you caught the Federico grand slam? Do you even go home? Like, do you just immediately go into hiding?
Well, nobody knows you caught it. Nobody knows you caught it at that point, so you can go home. It's the
what about the people sitting in your section?
Do they know where I live? Do they
what
know
if they
me?
think they're Robert De Niro from The Score?
Yeah, but do they know
Norton from
me?
The Score, and they're following you?
Well,
they follow you home? Have I seen too many movies? Is that
well? No, that's why you drive around the block to make sure you shook them. Like, dude, again, these are things that like.
No, you go into parking structures and you switch cars. That's how you lose a tail.
Yeah, I'm only having one car. I'm at a disadvantage there. Sorry. So I'm just gonna have to try to shake them through like different neighborhood like pull in, turn off my lights for a minute.
Like if you don't have a safe, do you immediately go buy a safe so you can put the ball in there until you can sell the ball? Like, what do you do?
Safe
do you
deposit
carry
box?
that ball with you everywhere you go so it's not out of your sight? Like, could you imagine having the Federico grand slam ball and you lose it before you can sell it?
I would hide it really, 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 really well. But no, you go get a safe deposit box at the bank the next day.
There you go. Good thinking. All right. So you already have a plan for this.
I mean,
it's not just a fancy hat rack, ladies and gentlemen.
But again, that's where I would like negotiate with the Dodgers. Like, here, you get your ball. I get some modicum of recompense for something I didn't even think that you guys would pay me for. Cool. And then we all go about our day. Because to me, I agree with their sentiment. I feel like it should stay with the Dodgers. But if you're auctioning it, that's where the disconnect for me happens. If you're auctioning it, unless the Dodgers are willing to bid multiple millions of dollars, if that's what it's going to go for, how is it going to end up there?
You're absolutely right. You're 100. And now we've come full circle. So
to The Score.
Yeah, so we started the show by saying that society is crumbling, and now we're ending the show with society is crumbling. I never thought, and maybe that was just me being naive as a kid, that there would be a whole industry for this type of memorabilia.
But I don't know that there used to be at to this level.
When we were kids, this stuff wasn't happening.
No, I mean, it was like you'd hear like baseball cards or whatever being worth a lot of money, but I don't know about auctions, but then that could just be we just were ignorant to that, and it's always been going on. So
that's the theme of this show, ladies and gentlemen. Society is crumbling, and I need you guys to give me signs that there is hope, that there is, we're going to find our way out of the darkness.
And I just realized we had a whole section. I tabled it as trade rumors for us, and in my head I was thinking trade rumors and free agency. So that's my bad. That's why I brought up Jack Flaherty. So it just clicked for me.
Why are you gaslighting me? Don't gaslight me like that.
Sorry, I worded it wrong. It's been a long day, okay?
I hear you. All right, so that's going to do it for this episode. So again, you guys, look, we want to hear your opinions on any of this, anything that we talked about. I know we were all over the place, but we want to hear your opinions. So please make sure you leave us comments. Again, this is a perfect time. If you've been listening to us on the audio portion, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast, rate us, write us a review, tell your friends. That's your homework assignment. Let people know about Baseball Shangri-La LA. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, hit that notification button, give us a thumbs up. And again, engage. Give us the Gladiator 2 thumbs up. Whether you want to give us your thoughts on what you thought of Gladiator 2. We'll take those too. And make sure you're following us on social media, on X at BB Shangri-La, on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch at Baseball Shangri-La. She is Amie Cuevas. I am Juan Ramirez. Nos despedimos con un beso. Amie, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye, people.